All right, making this recording because I don't want to miss this trade again. To give you some very quick background context, this is going to be for November 25th. This is the open. We have yesterday's price action or yesterday's profile. We had a double distribution with most of the activity happening in the upper portion. The overnight inventory is extremely balanced right here and opening up within the prior day's balance. So right here we have the open, which no trade at the open. I mean, you're opening inside balance, no reason to take a trade. In a case like this, you want to play the edges. So because we're opening within the range, you want to take a fade from the edges, and that's how we're going to play the day. The only reason why you would take a long or a short is if we broke out of this distribution up here with high delta, high volume, and just high tempo. If you don't have those, you're just going to be taking a mean reversion trade. So up here it'd be short, down here it'd be long. The line in the sand for the day would be this start of the single prints, this level right here. You have two different distributions from the prior day, and the only way that we are going to be taking, a short trade today is if we accept into this lower distribution area. As long as we are above that, we're going to be going long. Right, so let's just hit play here and see what happens. Opening inside of balance, we're going back and forth. Right here, you may have had a short opportunity to short at the imbalance high. This is not the imbalance high yet because we're only 20 minutes into the market or 10 minutes, but that would have been an aggressive short up there. All right, so price moving down pretty quickly. We took out the overnight low. We took out the single prints. All right, we're moving down. We're moving down. This is obviously the imbalance low or this is going to be the low of the day. We don't know that yet. I just have that here from prior. But all right, so we moved down pretty quick. In the first 21 minutes, we made a huge emotional drop down to past the single prints, right? So should I be stocking a short right here? That's sort of the question, right? Let's see how it plays out. All right, that's not good. So with this distribution or this profile so far, I'd say about overnight low is about half back. So the thought process here would be, okay, if we are going to be breaking lower and we want to see confidence, what does the confidence look like? Well, in this case, we do not want price to get past half back, or the overnight low in this case. If price is going to go lower, then we do not want to see price rally back further than the overnight low. That's basically the gist of it. So once price breaks that, you're in that thought process of, okay, are we going to accept below the single prints? That's this level right here. All right, that's not good, right? We're 854, that's not good that we are back into higher than half back. And look at this. Here's the open. We're 8:58, half hour into the session, and we came all the way back to the open. That is not a good sign that we're going to be going lower today. So now you want to say, okay, we rejected below the single prints. That's perfect. This is now excess, at least as of now. We'll see what B period does, but this is going to be excess because we did not accept below the single prints. And in fact, we rejected it. So that gives you more credence to take a long position. Let's see what happens here. All right, B period. All right, we're going lower. We're going lower. B period comes down. Now, if we have a second shot here, now that we're going long, the thought process would be I wanted long from the lowest position possible, but I also want confirmation with it. So we don't know what the low of B period is going to be yet, but that's the thought process. So B period, we have low confidence that we're going lower because A period came all the way back up to the open. B period has a second shot. We could go down lower. My thought there would be that means that buyers need to just not show up as we go up here, which is entirely possible. But as of now, we explored to the low side and we didn't find any new sellers. So there's only three directions the market's going to go, up, down, or sideways. And when you only have those three options, you have a 33% chance of taken a trade that's going to be a success. If you can eliminate just one of those, then you've got a 50-50 shot. We can safely eliminate the short side because we explored below and we didn't find any buyers. So now that just has sideways or moving up. We have 50-50 shot. At this point in the day, with B period showing low confidence that's inside period so far, at this point in the day, I would say we're going sideways. But again, I have a 50-50 shot because I've eliminated the short side. So let's see what happens here. Price keeps coming down. This is not a good sign that we're going lower, right? We're 15 minutes in. At this point, it's just like, okay, B period came all the way down to this level. Who knows if that's going to be B period low, but I can safely assume that we're not going to be going lower just because we tried and we failed. We didn't try going higher because we stayed within the range, but with this peak below, that's sort of a tell that the market's giving you that we're not going lower because we already tried. So now I should be stocking longs. So now we're 9:16 into the day. B period looks to be, it's an inside period already, or so far. We've got 15 minutes left. Let's just see what happens here. And I'll go to C period, then I'll go over to the execution chart. B period just chopping around around the overnight low, below the single prints. I mean, we got excess in both of those. So there's C period, okay? C period came right on up to the weekly prior value area high, and yeah, so I didn't take the trade, but this, I'll tell you why in just a moment. But before we leave this, that's what I wanted to pretty much convey is just like, we came all the way, we rallied, here's your data points. We rallied all the way back to the open and A period. That is a good sign that we're not going lower. B period was an inside period. We found some short-term balance. Okay, great. We might be going sideways, but now I have a 50-50 shot of taking a long or going sideways, and I already know we're not going lower. So now is my time to try to access the actual trade. So going over to the execution chart here. This right here would have been A period. So you've got your open right at 8:30, all the way down to 9 o'clock. This is the end of A period. So what we just saw was A period came all the way down past the single prints. Then we came all the way back up to the open and A period before we switched over. This candle right here, B period, came all the way down. We went below the single prints. We explored this low volume node. We rejected. Technically, this is your entry right here at 906. Okay, that is going to be a little aggressive. It's a trade you might be able to take later on when you've got more confidence. But if you really wanted to, the end of B period is right here. It's right here. That's when we had B period was the inside period. We chopped around the VWAP, but it's right here. You do have a handful of these levels above that could pose as resistance. But again, you've already eliminated that we're not going lower. Okay, so the odds are we're going higher or going sideways. If you get a 50-50 shot, this should have been your entry right here. And basically banking on the idea that we're going to be one time framing all day, or at least that's what you hope. And the nice thing about market profile is it sort of tells you what the probability of the trade working out is. And you can see if you took a long here, it never looked back. It never looked back. You easily left 40 points per contract on the table by missing that trade today. And the big reason was, you'd like to have that confluence with the imbalance high and low. So taking a trade after an hour of the market open, so you've got some, more market generated information to base a trade on. But if you're waiting for those, you are going to miss these trades here, because by the time price started taking off, you were kind of sitting on your hands and it was too late. As soon as price starts moving up here, unless you get some pretty good opportunities in the market profile to tell you to take a long, it's likely too late. So don't miss that trade again. The main reason why you missed it today was because this large delta, or heavy delta and heavy volume on the downside. What that told me was like, okay, you've got a lot of volume pushing this down and a lot of delta. That means you've just got strong sellers, right? I don't want to get in the way of a freight train coming down and take a long in front of the short sellers. What I wanted to see was low volume and low delta on that move down, but that's just simply not going to happen every single time. This actually gave you more reason to long because you've got a lot of volume right here, and those short sellers are going to be off sides. I couldn't find a reason why that would be a long liquidation so early in the day. I have to think there's a decent amount of new short inventory coming in right here, and they are all going to be off sides if price continues to move up. You can kind of tell right here is probably where you had a lot of stop losses, and you could see that just stop losses triggered, and then you had new longs in there bringing the price higher. But the reason I stayed out of it was because of the high delta and the high volume, which are sort of ingredients for a more sustained move down. But the part that I was missing here, the part that I kind of took away that confidence, uh, or the part that should have added confidence and taken along, is just using the market profile in those concepts. Right? We should have gone lower. The fact that price came all the way back up to the open means that the selling conviction and the confidence just wasn't there. So you should turn your eyes to take a long position. So that's why I did not take that trade today. Let's try not to let that happen again.